Well. Come on, give him praise in the house this morning. Give him glory in the house this morning. We bless your name, Jesus. We bless your name, Jesus. Glory to God. I don't know if that don't wake you up, then you need to check your pulse. Glory to God. God is so good, and God is so great and so greatly to be praised. I'm not going to preach this morning. I want to do something a little bit different on our 26th anniversary. I want to showcase and highlight our leadership team here at Refresh Church. We're going to actually sit before you and have a God-honoring discussion about ministry and why it is important for us to be authentic leaders in this generation when everything that we see and everything that we face in this generation is about the game. It's about doing performative ministry. It's about how much you can draw a crowd, but you don't really care about people. We're just going to keep it raw and real. At least that's what my heart is to show you the heart of our leadership team, of our emphasis here at this ministry. Now, I say leadership team, and I'm really speaking today because we have multiple leaders in this church, but I'm asking my executive pastoral team to come up, the current one. I've had wonderful pastoral teams throughout the 26 years. They have shifted and changed over the years for various reasons. People move on and things of that nature. And some are still here today, but they are what I call emeritus role. And so I want to just, before I bring the current leadership team, I want to just give honor to a couple of leaders that are not here. One of them is here, but I want to give honor to Dr. Billy Bell Pruitt, who for 22, 23 years served with us, began with us, and was on our pastoral team for many years. She still serves in ministry here, and we're so grateful to her. There wouldn't be a Refresh Church 26 years later without people like her and others who have come along and have moved on. But by the way, many of whom we still have wonderful relationships with. There are 3 men, 4, I would say, that have come out of this church and have birthed their own churches. And we have still, you know how that can be, right? You know, sometimes when somebody leaves and start their own church, that's a bad thing. I never looked at that as a bad thing. I've always looked at it as an opportunity to expand the kingdom of God, and that they were an extension of us in a sense. And so we have, I want to give honor to Pastor John Williams, who pastors Action Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I want to give honor to my friend and brother and son in the gospel, Kenneth Steele, who pastors Lifestyle Church in Kansas City, Kansas. And I want to give honor to Durbin Patterson and Stacia, who pastors their church in Houston, Texas. And so, and then I also want to give honor to Pastor Darren and Kim Carter, who are now in Houston, and they still have their parachurch ministry side by side. These men and women, and all of them, really helped to propel us over the years to where we are. Let me say, you don't make it anywhere alone. I don't care how successful you think you're going to be. There is never really good solo Lone Ranger mentality. Even if you see the billionaires in the world, you believe you me, they got great people. They don't celebrate them hardly, but they got great people who have helped them to build those amazing organizations and corporations. You can have an opinion about what and who they are, but nothing ever is accomplished alone. And I never took that to be the case for me and for us. And so I'm grateful for what the Lord has done through us. I'm grateful for the leaders. And these current leaders that we have, many of them some of them have been with us for a long time. Others have not, but they are currently serving on our executive pastoral team. And they help me and Pastor Robin immensely with making sure that this ministry and what we do and what we're called to do is done with integrity, is done with people in mind. We want to serve God the best we know how, and we want to do it in a way that is honoring to Him. I'm not really interested in a big crowd. I'm interested in growing authentic people and ministering to your lives, but I know that that can't be accomplished by ourselves, so we need help and support. And so the vision of this church has always been about authenticity. It's always been about refreshing people's lives, pulling people from where they are for such a time as this so that they can be all that God has called them to be. I want to call your attention to the screen just for a moment. I want you to take a look at our Avengers video. I call it the Avengers video because the producer who helped produce that for us, he said, I want to do something at the end that feels like the Avengers thing. We're talking about the vision of this church, a refreshed church. He said, I want to do something at the end that feels like an Avengers theme. And so we all kind of step into our Avengers role. And I'm trying to figure out if I'm Captain America or whatever. Anyway, take a look as we describe this ministry.
You know, life can really pack a punch that can make you feel real hopeless. But our assignment as a church is to attack that spirit of hopelessness head on.
To bring you the message that you can begin again.
Because the God of new beginnings, the God of hope and fresh expectations is on your side.
We are a people who give grace to every situation with joy.
And fully expect that God will transform and impact your life as only He can.
So we are a safe place to land, a place where you can be strengthened, a place where hope is restored and joy is renewed. We are a place where you can discover your destiny and the new realities for your life. This is the place where you want to be. This is that place. We are.
We are.
We are.
We are.
We are.
We are.
Refresh Church.
Y'all see me walking into that? Okay. We're going to have a little fun this morning too. But place where hope is renewed and joy is restored. Don't you think that the society that we're living in right now need a lot more hope and joy than we would? My goodness. And so I want to, first of all, invite my wife to come on up. This lady's been with me for all my life. That's for real, though. For real, though. And she's going to be a part of obviously our panel and our team. We're going to sit here right in the middle, honey. And I'm grateful to her. I want to next invite Pastor Reggie and Pastor Dana to come on up. And I got something amazing to say about this wonderful woman of God. I just don't even, for me, in a lot of ways, I'm just honored by her. You don't mind me sharing a little bit, do you? I'm honored by her sacrifice. So Pastor Dana, about 2 weeks ago, donated her kidney to her cousin. Her cousin in Shreveport, Louisiana, was in complete, total kidney failure, was fighting for her life. An amazing woman from what Dana was telling us about. She's a doctor herself, medical doctor, but could not kick her career off because at the age of 30-something, she experienced total kidney failure. And the Lord put on Dana's heart, and I mean, it was the Lord, because we were like, you sure, girl? You know, because we all concerned about her, and we love her, and we want to make sure she's okay. And I said, are you sure? She said, God told me to do it. And 2 weeks ago, she did that. And by the way, she's recovering. She's doing well. She's just moving a little slow. She just can't lift nobody right now. So don't y'all babies be coming up to her. But her sister, her cousin is doing well as well. And so life begets life. We honor you today. We honor you today. We honor you. I want to bring up Tony and Ronchelle Love. Now, I want you to know that, come on this side of us, I want you to know that Dr. Tony and Dr. Ronchelle are newest people on our leadership team, and I'm so grateful to them for their coming in over the last couple of years and just 2 feet in, no reservation, no hesitation, put their trust in us, and they're still testing us out, but I think we're going to be all right. Now, forgive Dr. Tony. He had to have a little eye surgery. He's not blind. He can see. He just can't handle these, these bright lights. I love him because we tease a lot. He's my brother. We have a lot of fun. And we just go at each other sometimes. You know, he threatened to beat me up, by the way, in the office earlier. So some of y'all want to get him, feel free to see, you know, that's how that works, bro. I got a whole crew behind me, man. All right. And then, oh, you back. Okay, I was waiting. I was waiting to call you. Come on, David and Tina, come on up. Oh, my Lord. David and Tina, who are part of our pastoral team now. And I'll tell you, I got a lot to say about this couple. They have been with us, probably, particularly David, the longest in terms of membership of all of our pastoral team now. And I just love what God is doing in their life. And they've recently shifted some roles. Y'all see Tina. She worships, she dances, she administrates, and I'm wearing her out. So anyway, but I'm grateful to God for her ministry. And last but not least, and I know your wife is not here today, but come on up, Brother Johnny. Johnny and Wanda Manning, and take your seat with us this morning as part of our pastoral team. So I'm supposed to do sort of a brief introduction about what I think matters to God. I'm going to sit down now, but what I think matters to God. And I was just thinking of this aspect, y'all, and we'll get into the crux of the questions later on as we move forward. But no matter how big your ministry is, whether it's 30, 300, or 3,000, it matters to God. And sometimes what we do over the course of looking at churches and looking at ministries is that if you have thousands of people coming, then you can, unfortunately, you can make the mistake thinking that their influence is the most important thing out there, and it isn't. All of it, because we're all God's people, matter to God. And my own personal philosophy of ministry has been, this is going to sound real country, but I don't own none of y'all. You don't belong to me. Does that make sense? Sometimes in leadership, you can inadvertently take on way too much of trying to control people's lives. And that's not what we are. We're shepherds. Our assignment is to lead the flock, not to lord the flock. And so there are a lot of models of ministry out there. In fact, if you do, I don't want to bore you with all of the technical stuff, but I'll just make mention of this just so that you can get a little bit of a scope of where I come from and where we come from and why you see us sitting here together. But there are about 5 models of governmental ministries out there. One of them is called the Episcopal model. And Episcopal model really is the kind of church structure that a lot of us who came out of denominations have been under. You have a bishop, you have board of bishops, and these bishops appoint pastors, and these then you have jurisdictions and dioceses and councils, and it's a hierarchical structure, and everything is controlled by the bishop. The bishop can appoint you in, and he can take you out. That's called Episcopal structure. If you come out of some Pentecostal churches, some Baptist, not Baptist churches, but Pentecostal churches, you'll see that model mostly. We came out of a church called the Church of God in Christ. It's one of the churches we came out of, and it was heavily leadership, bishop-oriented. And it was a little bit, whatever. Okay, I'm not going to go into the other commentary. The second, another model that you'll see out there is called the congregational model. And this is oftentimes evident in a lot of Baptist congregations, Baptist churches, where the church is controlled by the congregation, and sometimes the congregation empowers deacons to control everything. And so the deacons hire and fire the pastor, supposedly. If they get mad at him, and in fact, the pastor has to take a vote on what he's going to preach, so he'll make the congregation mad because they might vote him out. That's called congregational method. The third kind of method is called monarchical, or a better way of saying it is one-man rule. He the pastor, he the bishop of the house, everybody pay homage to him. He makes all of the decisions. He tells everybody what to do. He micromanages everything. He is the autocratic type of leader. Okay, and if you saw the movie Lean on Me, there's a phrase, there's an acronym that Joe Clark used. It was called so go look at the movie Lean on Me. It's a really great movie. But and then there's a hybrid model where sometimes leaders do a combination of those. And then there's the last model, which I think that I've tried to implement, which is called team ministry. Team ministry, sometimes the technical word is presbytery. It's not that you're a Presbyterian church, but it means that the church is ruled by leaders, spiritual elders who are equal in value, different in function, and we govern and rule the people and shepherd the people together. Okay, here's the problem with the one rule, what I call the super pastor. The super pastor, he has to set the vision, he teaches and preaches, he counsels, he disciples, he trains, he guides, he settles differences, he exhorts the weary, he does the evangelism of the church, he tends to do members, he does all of the funerals, weddings, baptisms, and baby dedications. He administrates the ministry departments, he balances the budget, he maintains the building, he drives the bus. He makes every decision. He goes to the hospital to visit every member. He must plan, approve, and oversee every project. He must supervise every task, and when he has time, he gets to lead his own family. When he has time. And by the way, his family must be the model of perfection. Is that not true? And so that's the problem sometimes with too much being taken on one person. One of the books that I embraced years ago was called Team Ministry. It's an old book written back in the 80s. I still subscribe to it today. In this team, you will have the functions that I just mentioned divvied up between everybody. These folks here are assigned the task, Drs. Tony and Ron Sholove, to oversee the Connect and Care ministries. So they help shepherd the people. Tina and David are over the worship and experience here at this church. Worship teams, media, communications team. Dana and Reggie, they have two separate roles because they just that talented. This is called the epitome of a power couple. Anyway, all right, she is an amazing administrator, operations, oversees the ministry departments, and he handles money and budgets and bills and, oh my, he does that. He's good with the finances. And then Johnny and Wanda oversee the counseling ministry of the church, particularly marriage, premarital counseling, postmarital counseling, and all that. Now, is that not a better way of divvying up duties than all of that being embodied in one person? Because if me and Pastor Robin had to do all of that, one of us wouldn't be here very long. Because my wife going to get her massages, and she's going to be like, you can handle all that. And I'm like, yeah, she queen comfort, queen chill. You don't be like, well, I ain't taking all that pressure. Y'all do all that. And I would have been here grinding away, going, all right, I got to go one more hospital visit and I'll be home. It is 11 o'clock at night. And by the way, she wouldn't even tolerate that from me because she loves me too much to let me drive myself into the ground. That's important, that you have the right model of ministry. By the way, here's the scripture, then I'm going to kick it off to y'all, all right? Here's the scripture that I want to kick off. 1 Peter 5, 1 through 3. And I want you to see something that maybe you have never seen before as you think, if you've ever thought about church, is he says, the first two words, the elders, plural, who are among you, I exhort, I who am a fellow elder. Wait, Peter, I thought you were an apostle. I thought you were a bishop. I thought you were the man. He says, no. In this church that he's talking to, 1 Peter, the church he's writing to, the church, the New Testament church, he presents a model of ministry that most people never really understand, particularly for the local body. He said that the church ought to be run and ruled by elders, not just one elder. The word elder is not old man or old woman. You can be young and an elder because it denotes spiritual maturity. So he says, those who are in the body who are spiritually mature, he says, I want to exhort you. Peter saying, by the way, I'm an elder. Before I'm an apostle, when it comes to the New Testament church, I am an elder among you. I am just like you. I'm here to help shepherd the body. And you would think Peter would have a bigger, more elevated opinion of himself. He doesn't. He says, I'm an elder just like you. And he says, I'm not only an elder, but I witnessed the sufferings of Christ and also a partaker of the glory to be revealed. Then he says, here's what I want you elders to do. Shepherd the flock of God, which is among you. Serve as overseers, not by compulsion, but willingly. So we're not up here because we were forced to be up here. The call of God came to us, to me first, to us first, and then as we grew and as we began to mature as a church, we began to identify those who were spiritually mature enough to come alongside and serve with us so that we can shepherd the flock together willingly. Not out of compulsion, but willingly. And then here's another part. Not for dishonest gain. The true nature of leadership is not about taking your money. A true shepherd is called to shepherd the flock. In fact, unfortunately, the only thing you and I oftentimes hear about is the people who did something wrong. They are a small percentage of the total body of Christ. There actually are a couple of us, just a couple of us out here who are trying to do it right. Who really care about your soul, care about your life, care about your family. And so we're not necessarily trying to build a crowd, but we are trying to build a community, and we're trying to build a family. I'm going to tell you how my motto at the end of the day of running ministry, and I think these folks share the same thing with me, and this is part of where you all can jump in, is, Pastor, how do you lead the church? I lead the church how I lead my family. I love my wife. I love my kids. I guide them, direct them. Because as a shepherd, if you can't do this right, it's going to be hard for you to do this right. Here's the thing I'm most proud of after 26 years of pastoring, that this woman still likes me. That my kids, although 3 of the 4 are grown, still call me and honor me as their father. And they don't call, hey, Bishop, listen, I want to talk to you about alone. Because I never presented before my children in the home that I was their bishop or their pastor, and y'all need to come in and bow before me as the head of this household. They wasn't like that. They saw me as daddy. They still see me as daddy, and they still see me, even as they're grown, as father who loves them right where they are. So you take that same mentality when God puts you in front of people and he gives you the honor, and it is an honor to shepherd you. You take that same mentality and you say, you are my family. And by the way, these folks up here, they my peeps. They are my family. I know I know a lot about them, and they know a lot about me and us. And that's important. It's kind of funny. We've had the privilege, except for Tony and Ronchelle, of seeing their kids grow up in church, in ministry with us. And we know their struggles, and we know their battles, and they know our struggles, and they know our battle. And so I know this wasn't one of the things I put on the list, but talk about the importance, y'all, of family when it comes to ministry, and how that feels for you as leaders when you're talking about the importance of not only your family, but the bigger family of God. And if nobody comes out and says anything first, I'm going to start pointing some of y'all out. All right. So what is the Robin? I'll let you go first, because she's you always got my back, girl. All right. So just put her on the spot. But talk about the importance of family in ministry.
Well, I think it's important that, because I was thinking about it for the children aspect, that they know that they're not going to be casualties, and they're not going to be second class, and they're not going to be held to some sort of standard and all this, all this stuff. And so I think it's important for them to know where they fall, or where they'll fall in all of this. I've had to come to the aid of my children along the way sometimes, because sometimes church members can act like, they can discipline too, and they can get you together too, or they're looking at whatever. And I just had to, kind of bring some correction in there, because my children and family deserve some space and some grace and some anonymity and all of those things. And I think it's important too that your family see one version of you. Not that we treat the members a certain kind of way, but we'll take your head off at home. That type of thing. I think it's important that they see the same person all the way around, because we like to say, when you see that person, that's who you get. That's who you get. Well, it should be the same way with your family, that if you're showing all this love and grace and mercy and truth to the people that you serve at the church, that your family should get the same you. Not that you can't relax at home, but they should get the same trueness of who God is that you portray in front of other people. They should get that same version of you at home.
How have you all managed family in ministry? Reggie and Dana, how have you all managed family in ministry?
I think a lot of it is about the same what Pastor Robin said. For me, as a mother in the ministry, I want my boys to look at me and see the same person when they are at home as the person that's here worshiping and serving alongside of everyone else. And so they need to know that I love them first and foremost. I've always wanted to make sure that they understood that my first ministry is my home. So, in keeping with that, everything I do stems out of the home. And so, because as authentic as I can be and as transparent as I can be, my home is my priority, and my boys and my husband have always been my priority. And so, um, I lead, I've tried to lead that um, just by what I do, just by how I live, how I walk, and being honest with them, being honest even in this space when it's not perfect, and when I'm falling short, or when I need encouragement or prayer, not being so high that neither my boys or my husband or even the people of God can see that we strengthen each other. So that's kind of how. I don't know if that made any
That's
sense.
good. That's good. I'm gonna give it to a couple of who's next. Yeah, go ahead, team.
Ladies' time.
Late.
I was going to say, there in the beginning, like when we first started leading, our kids were small. Like we were bringing in carriers to worship rehearsals. Oh, we had like a whole daycare during that season. The struggle there was still to make sure that they felt like they were still first. So if one of them were sick or something was going on, it was like, oh, we still going to rehearsal. No, we're going to make sure that, our kids felt like that they were loved, and that the things that we did and the roles that we were in here didn't take precedence over what we needed to do for them. So, but I will say in the beginning it was tough, especially, serving in different areas and different days of the week. We were here, we were bringing them, and until everybody got old enough, then we created what we call FFY, Fan for Yourself. But prior to that,
I'll fend for yourself. Huh?
but yes,
FFY.
I would say in the beginning it was, but just like Pastor Robin and Pastor Dana said, just making sure that our family still felt like they were first.
I'll say ditto for what my sister said, but for us, our children were also young when we first came into the ministry. And one of the things I have to say is allowing your children to know that they're not perfect. A lot of times the congregation will look at the pastor's children and put them on a pedestal or make them feel like they cannot make mistakes. For my daughter, when her dad came into the ministry, the first thing she said was, oh my God, now I gotta be perfect. Now people are gonna look at me and I gotta walk a certain way. I can't ever make a mistake. And so for us, that was the hardest thing, was getting my children to understand that you are human. First and foremost, God loves you. Second of all, Daddy and I love you. And you don't have, just be yourself. Be who God has called you to be. Don't try to be what everybody else wants you to be. So that was a huge, huge thing for us.
Well, Johnny, you over there by yourself, and we letting all the ladies speak, but your wife ain't here, so now you just gotta cover her and you. So what you got to say about family and ministry? And what do you all counsel people in this generation when you all are sitting with folks about how to keep family first?
For us, it's with our daughters and our grandsons, and just in our home period, we've always talked about, we purpose to nurture, to cultivate, because everything that's in our home or everything that we're a part of, we want it to grow.
Yeah.
And so, again, when somebody has said, our kids are not perfect, but we've always stood in their corners no matter what, and letting them know that as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do and being the best you that you can be, you still win. And even when they fall, again, because we're nurturing and we're motivating them to be the best that they can be.
Yeah.
And even when we're counseling people, a lot of times we have to remind them, you have to encourage each other. You have to have a home that brings life. And a lot of times we don't do that, and that's our purpose, even as Christians, is to speak life to each other. We're to build each other up, and so that's one of the things that something we stand on, nurturing and cultivating. It's something that my wife does for me. You know, she nurtures the little boy in me, and she motivates the grown man in me.
Yeah.
You know, so that's it.
I'm going to need you to see the little boy in me a little bit more, okay? I like that. Tina said whatever that means. We actually have pastor meetings every Thursday through Zoom for those who can make it and that type of video. And we talk like this. We just kind of have fun and, you know, enjoy one another and share. I remember years ago, this is on the theme of family a little bit, y'all. We had a lot of people who kind of came into our ministry who came from the mentality that you sacrificed all for the church. So one Sunday or whenever it was, I said to our leaders, when it got to the summertime, I said, I need y'all to go on vacation. And they were like, I said, no, really, I need y'all to get out of here. You mean we can miss a Sunday? Yeah, you can miss a lot of Sundays. Please, go, get refreshed. What do you mean? What I'm saying is your family is first, not this church. Pastor Darren always used to say this to me when he first came into my life, and he was encouraging me to take breaks and, you know, take time off. And he said, Pastor, Jesus already died for the church. You don't have to. And I said, that'll speak. I never forgot that. And so we mastered the principle of learning to rest and to take time off. And that's the kind of message we want to communicate. We want to communicate to you as a congregation. You're busy, life is busy, but the model that we want you to adopt in your home and in your life as your pastors is to say, make sure you keep your family first, because that's your first ministry. Go to your kids' games, even if they are on Sundays. You know, I mean, these sports organizers have mastered the art of taking every day of the week, and all your money too, by the way. But we always encourage you to put your family first and to make sure that you nurture your children. We always said we don't want to win the world of Jesus and lose our own kids. What good is that? You know, on your tombstone, I won the world of Jesus, but your kids ain't even at your funeral because they hated you. That's not. And by the way, that happens. And it happens to preachers all the time. So this is why team is important, because what we decided was that if we were going to last, we had to divvy up these responsibilities among people who are qualified. So what we tell people, what I would like to share to people is that don't always come in looking for the pastor. Who the pastor is. Okay, first of all, clean up your English. But anyway, don't always ask the question, who's the pastor? One of the things you might want to ask if you decide to join another church down the road, ask, who's your leadership team? And if he says, well, I do it all, run. Good, sir, because that is a bridge to nowhere. We've seen many leaders burn out as a result of that. And then don't always look for who's the most talented. What's your worship like? What your singers are like? What all of that, because church is not performance. Church is transformation. It's a place where people come to be transformed. If you are looking for a good church show, I can call your attention to other few places that you will really enjoy. They got lights, cameras, action. I'm telling you, they'll put a good show, smoke machines, it's a whole lot of stuff that you know. And I ain't against smoke machines, lights, cameras, and action, but I'm telling you, and some of them do really great authentic ministry. But if that's all you're looking for, there are a lot of churches that do that a whole lot better. They're wonderful. I'm super impressed with because technology is expensive. So anyway, ask the question, who are the leaders, and then is this church about transformation, and does the church encourage you to grow in your faith? Are they, better way of putting it, are they teaching you anything? Do you get a word that helps you to go, you know what, I need to think about that? Because that right there is something that I hadn't spent time on. Okay, so here's my next open for discussion question is, at Refresh, we try to prioritize authentic relationships. And that's a buzzword, and we're going to ask ourselves the question, because I don't know what does authentic relationships mean over performance-based ministry. Authentic relationship over performance-based ministry. So we care more about who people are than what they can do. So when you come to Refresh Church, what we're going to try to do is not just ask you what your talent is, we're going to try to ask you where your heart is. Does that make sense? We've had many of people who've come in who have come from places where they've been doing ministry for a long time, and there was a crash. And they come in and we go, what you do? Well, I sing, I worship. All right, come on the stage. No, we say, why don't you just sit for a minute and get healed? Why is that, y'all, important? Putting people over process. Putting people over performance. Why is that important in today's society?
I think it's important, just speaking from my personal experience, because it's about a foundation. When I say that is, I came from a ministry, I grew up Church of God in Christ. I was a junior deacon and all of that. On my way to doing whatever I thought God wanted me to do at that time, but I still saw something was missing. And I still felt different, and I still didn't feel like that's where I needed to be. And that was tough because the majority of my family was in that. So you had to step out and really trust God. But still, even through that process, there's church hurt. You see a lot of imperfect people that were pretending to be perfect. Therefore, they made you feel like you had to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I carried that for a long time, and it really wrecked a lot of my salvation in God, or at least wrecked what I believe was my relationship with God in my early formative years. But being able to come to a place where I was just able to just hear the word, because that was the main thing. And if you don't take nothing else from what I'm saying, is you have to have the word of God in your life. You have to be able to follow that and interpret that however it is speaking to you. But the thing is, God knows how to reach you wherever you are. Mm-hmm. So reaching me as a young guy coming out of college and just knowing all I wanted to do really was play football or rock a mic. You have young dreams, whatever it is, but at the end of the day, I still knew I wanted to serve God, and I still knew I needed to serve God. So having a hunger first helps. Then when you get to a place where you're really hungering after his word and you're really just trying to do right by him, he's going to lead and guide you to the place you need to be. I believe that is why I was led to this house 20 some odd years ago. And being under the leadership, once I got here, I knew I could sing. I knew I was talented. But me personally didn't want to serve anywhere.
We hear that a lot.
So I came in here to sit down and just hear the word and just be preached to, so to speak, but still get the word for myself. But at the same time, I was like, I don't want to be up there, because I didn't feel worthy, first of all. And then I felt like I came from a lot of stuff where I saw a lot of people playing. So for me, it wasn't about playing the game. It was just like, God, what am I supposed to do? It's about purpose, right? You know, and I don't know what my purpose is. That's how I felt. But when I came here, and I was allowed to be under this leadership. Even at them, they were pulling me. My cousins were the praise team leaders at the time. They were pulling me up on the stage. I said no. I didn't want to be a part of that. Y'all see where I ended up, don't you? And I remember getting convicted one time. It was an anniversary service like this one back at the old location, and I was out there helping people in the parking lot because I was like, I just want to serve, and I'm thinking, yeah, I don't care what it is, Lord. And God checked me as I was out in the parking lot. So I'm not up here because this is what I sought after, and this is what I thought I needed to do. I'm up here because I don't like whoopings. I try to learn the first time or the second, third time. Y'all know what I'm getting at. And so God still, through that process, was able to build my foundation, still being here under this leadership, under this great couple of God. And now also the members at that time. And so I'm saying all that to say, look, it was important that I had some healing that needed to be done, clearly. Don't we all have some healing in some areas? Yeah. And I just thank God that I was allowing him to heal me as opposed to rejecting it and getting all extra dignified, thinking, no, that ain't for me. I just want to serve. And again, long story short, here I am serving.
I actually jotted down some notes because I don't like being put on the spot. So.
Yeah, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
The very heart of Jesus is relationships over performance. Like, that's his heart. He didn't come to build this perfect organization or this perfect church. He came to build people. Mm-hmm. So that's why relationships matter over what you can do or what you can bring. He chose with the disciples. He chose the available, the willing, the ordinary, but he invested deeply in those relationships. And that's how kingdom work gets done, is through relationships, not just based on what you can do or what you can bring. Just like David, I come from a singing family, so my whole family sings. But I also came from a church I came broken from a church because of bad relationships. So, because everybody just wanted to perform, everybody could sing. And that's what everybody focused on, was what you could do and what your voice was. But this relationship wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And so if this part isn't there and all we're focused on is what you can do, it's not going to last. And that doesn't build the kingdom, which is God's heart.
Hey, over the years of you leading the worship team, you have had a lot of people to come who had talent, but you didn't always pull them, particularly if they shared with you their heart about what they've been through. And how have you managed to prioritize, you and David managed to prioritize that, even when you know you had a need on the worship team for somebody? You need an alto, you need a spread, and you know that they could do it, but instead you go, no.
For years, and probably before even some of you all came, there was just like 3 of us for a little bit, and it wasn't because people weren't wanting to come, and it's not always about your voice. Yeah, we talk and we joke about, we do have auditions because, let's be honest, you should be able to sing.
Right.
But over the years, there's been so many people that come, but because they could sing, they could clearly sing and stand on their own and all of that. But some of it had to do with like relationship in their heart and why they were wanting to serve. Why were they wanting to be up here? Which wasn't for the right reason, some of it. And so we knew, in order to be able to grow this area of ministry and for God to be seen, that some people just weren't going to be a good fit.
Well, and then sometimes people just needed to be healed.
Yes. Some people were broken and they were wanting to do it just because this is what I do. This is what I used to do for years. But over the years, you also had experienced so much hurt and they were broken. And, the gelling in ministry is very, very important. And when you're coming from the area of worship, we have to gel together, because if we're not gelling and we're not all getting along and everything is going good, God won't be seen through all of that. So.
It can become very toxic. Go ahead.
You know, I was just sitting here thinking, we've seen over the years, well, I've noticed that you can't even really give until you're healed. And some people just don't even recognize that point. You can't give well until certain parts of you are healed. And we're really showing ourselves, you know, that I'm really trying to do the best for us in this situation, even if you don't feel like it is. I mean, you're building a relationship there, because one thing I really try to push, and one of my areas is the women's ministry. And I really try to bridge the gap between the ages and the generations with the younger girls, because I don't want to just scoop them up when they become women. Because if we could say things and bring them along so they can, and even see some of the ways we handle ourselves and handle each other, then they can grow into being able to trust who we are and to trust what a woman really is. And I was telling some of the women in some of my personal conversations, I don't want our initial reactions to the young ladies or to be a sense of correction. I don't want them to be the first time they hear from us is when we're correcting them. I don't want that. I've never wanted that. I'm like, we need to be able to care about what's going on when there's nothing going on. That's what builds relationship. That's what shows them that they're interested in me. For what? You know, it makes them like, what did she just asked me, wow, what was going on? You build a relationship with them and they don't even know it. And so I think relationship is extremely important, because it allows for an avenue in when it's really necessary. When you've been there when nothing was going on and when nothing was important, and you're talking about things that they didn't think was important to you and wasn't even on their mind. And so it just shows a love of God, because when it says God cares about the smallest things and God cares about the most minute things, but if we're on the running after people who seem like they're important and we can't be bothered with the little ones, but God cares about the small things and the little things. So we need to care about the smallest one and the lightest conversation, because it all builds relationship. I mean, I'm sure the woman at the well and Jesus ran up on a lot of people who felt like, why is he talking to me? Because he saw something there. It felt it was a need for him to build some sort of relationship so that they can hear a message.
Yeah.
You know?
I'd like to piggyback off Pastor Robin a little bit there. In corporate America, they have a saying that people don't care how much you know, they care how much you care. It's about how much you care for people. It's not what you know. A lot of times in church, again, there's some folks that can quote the Bible frontward and backwards, but don't have the heart of God in their actions and how they live. So it's not, and one of the things that I'm going to say that Refresh does well, and especially our men's ministry, is we're authentic. You know, and when people come here, everybody want to be seen. Kind of going back to what I just said a little bit there. Everybody wants to be seen. I want you to see me. I want you to have discernment for me, to see that I'm broken, to see that I'm hurting, and to speak to that, to encourage me, to help build me up. And that was one of the draws that I know that Refresh does a great job at. That people feel like, you know, like I say, grew up in church myself and was one of those guys that felt, well, I ain't going to go to church because I ain't right yet. This is the hospital. This is where we get right. You know, so it's really about, it's about relationships. You know, sometimes there's an old saying, you know, you so heavenly bound, you know, earthly good.
Yeah.
You know, it's about caring for other folks, you know, and that's one of the things, again, everybody want to be seen. Everybody wants to know. Said Jesus, that he left the 99 for the one.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
For the one that didn't have it together, that got lost. He left for the one. And everybody wants to be seen. And when you're loving folks, people can feel that.
Yeah.
When you can be, I tell Pastor all the time, and he always laughs at me because I know I'm something else. I know I am. I'm still being worked on. My wife I got scaffold around me all the time, so she's still working on me. But he allows me to be who I am. He ain't never wants Johnny come here. Don't. He allows me to be who I am. Because he understands too, and he knows where my heart is at. And it's for the things of God. It's about caring for one another, encouraging each other, and lifting each other up.
We had a great men's connect yesterday. Reg, you know, you might want to speak to a little bit, but talk about relationships from your perspective.
I'll piggyback off Johnny. Two things that attracted me to this church when we joined back in 2009. The first thing was there was just a high level of excellence. Pastor Billy, there's a time and a place to tarry, but I ain't sitting in church for 4 or 5 hours every Sunday. I'm sorry, wasn't gonna do it then. But there was a level of excellence.
That's true.
There was stuff that we had in place. People had, it was systematic how we did it, and we still allowed the Spirit to move. So that was very attractive. But the second thing that attracted me to the church, like Brother Johnny said, it was just the level of authenticity. I think that's how you say that word. I remember when I first started to really get involved, we had, I don't know if y'all remember Encounters. Anybody here when we had Encounters?
Yeah.
So the men would come here, it was men separated, women had their own. I don't remember if it was called Encounters.
It was, yeah.
One of the first encounters I went to, we would come here on a Friday evening, go for a few hours, come back and be here all day Saturday, but people had topics that they had to, I'll say preach on, but talk on. And it wasn't Pastor Frank, Pastor Darren, it was just regular dudes out in the audience that came up here and they poured out their hearts, and they were so vulnerable, they were so real and genuine on what they had gone through, how they got through it, some of them how they were still in it. And I kept thinking, man, if I want to be involved in this church, I'm going to have to be fake. Or I'm going to have to address some stuff in my life real quick. And so just going through encounters, it forced me to look in the mirror spiritually, and God revealed some stuff, and Pastor Frank helped me through it. And that was he didn't say, well, you need to go sit out and heal, but that was my healing, just being around authentic men that they weren't fake, they weren't trying to make you think they were preachers or this or that. I'm just trying to be a better man of God. I'm just trying to get closer to God, and I'm going to show y'all how I'm doing it. And so even now, 15 years later, y'all know if I preach it, I ain't faking. I'm going to be super vulnerable and probably tell you too much. But that's the ministry that we have here. Because of Pastor Frank and Pastor Robin, it's a ministry of being authentic. And if you're not authentic, you'll stick out like a sore thumb. So I would just encourage you, as you're getting involved, be okay with it. I promise you, God will use it. He'll use that vulnerability to reveal some stuff and ultimately, get healing, or if you're broken, he'll address that if you allow yourself to be authentic.
Dr. Tony, did you have something?
I take it for us that when me and my wife came a couple of years ago, we were definitely in a broken season. You don't get there by happenstance. Brokenness doesn't just appear overnight. It manifests itself over time. And then within that space of time, there's a crucial crisis moment that breaks you. When you leave one stance of brokenness and you start walking, only to find yourself being snapped again, it appears to the natural that you're being picked on. And if we are honest with ourselves, most of us who have come through these doors left the doors that we used to go through because either we were broken or we stopped growing. Otherwise, we would have still been going where we were going. The thing that me and my wife immediately found out about this place called Refresh was that we could come in and not have any expectations thrown at us. About the third visit, just based off of who we are. We did our due diligence and met with Pastor Frank and Pastor Robin, and basically shared with them some of the stuff that was going on with us, and that we need to intentionally sit for as long as his voice was still silent. Oftentimes when you are in ministry, you feel that need to do, but when you're broken, your brokenness is infectious. It infects others. And broken people break other people. When we say it's a hospital, we mean that it's a hospital because all of us, as Paul would put it, has a limp. Now, my limp may not be your limp, but we still limping. But we can help each other in our limping, right? Because where you weak at, I may be strong, and where I'm weak, you may be strong. That's where the unification of the body comes into play. We are able to help each other as long as we are authentic in our limp.
Yeah.
I just want to quickly just add on to all of the reasons why. Sorry.
Well, you got the reserve sign. I'm not sure.
Hot up here.
No, I'm sorry.
Anyway,
We don't have any church fans.
I just want to quickly add to the reason why I think relationships are so important in ministry is because when I first came, I received the best set of, and I'm not deep, I received the best set of hugs I've ever experienced in my life when I came into this place as a visitor, first-time visitor. They didn't know if I was married. They didn't know if I was single. They didn't know if I served. They didn't know if I had a talent or gift. It was just great hugs. And it was Wanda and it was Pastor Robin that gave me my first 2 hugs here that I was just like, I want everybody to feel what I felt the first time I came in this building, every time they come into this building. And so that's how I serve. That's how I've always served. That's how I continue to serve, because I want people to feel the love of Christ every time they come into these doors. And that in itself is healing, right? That is bringing peace into a chaotic world. If you can feel the love of God through somebody else's touch, then why not do it? And so when I felt that, when I got here in 2009, God already, he made it clear to me, that is your purpose here. You guys are going to be in this ministry. You're going to be here. Everybody that comes to this door should feel the same love that you felt, that you needed, and that you felt when you came through these doors.
That's powerful.
I have to agree with you, Pastor Dana, because those hugs, that is your healing, because that's how I felt when I first came to Refresh. I sat there on that back row, and I had in my mind, I don't want to do nothing. I don't want nobody saying anything to me. I just want to sit here. I just want to sit in my bubble. But when you get that hug, all of that melts away. And that's where those authentic relationships come in.
So what we've learned today is the anointing in this church is in the hugs. It ain't in my preaching. It ain't in it ain't in the worship. It's in the hug. Yeah, right. You see what we have to deal with as pastors. People come in their bubbles, and but we actually know that, and we don't mind people coming in hurt, struggling, mad, fighting, because you don't. Some of the stories we've heard, y'all, of people who have come in and have been vulnerable enough to share with what they've gone through has been, here's your fan. It has been absolutely amazing. And to hear on the other side of the healing, of the breakthrough, of everybody on this stage has had some form of church, whatever. But to have them sitting here today shows that no matter where you are, if you just open up your heart, there's a healing balm that is going to be released into your life if you open it up. You got to, I think, isn't it the toughest thing is to trust again? Right? If you've been through all kinds of stuff and it's kind of hard, you kind of want to know if these people are like it the last people, and you have to spend, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 months living down what they've been through. I'll shout out, because we have other leaders. I want to shout out to Ty and Tasha, and I know their story, but I was looking at you all worship this morning, you lead worship this morning, and I tapped Pastor Robin and said, she's there. She's there. And you know what I mean. I mean, you found the sweet spot this morning in worship, and it was like, I was like, oh, there's the Tasha that we never saw before, that God the all just broke open. She was just free. She was, and to see her, she's not the only one, but to see where you and your husband are now, to where you were when you first came in, as the preacher says on Coming to Mary, there is a God. There's a God somewhere. Okay, they're telling me the live stream is going to shut off in a few minutes, and so let's 1 minute, everybody on the panel, give us your final remarks, if you have any. What's your final remarks, Johnny? And you can't say, hold on to your God said. Come on, can y'all give God praise for Johnny Manning? The word of the Lord from Johnny Manning in this house will forever be, hold on to your God said. I tell him, I said, man, bruh. All right, let me shut up. Go ahead. Now you ain't got nothing to say, do you? You can say it. You can say it. You can say it.
Go ahead and say it. No, I'm not going to say it. It's all right. I'm going to go back to what we was kind of talking about earlier. Care for each other. Be there for one another. Open yourself up. Get to know somebody here that you don't know. And pray for each other. I mean, that's really how we get through this thing. I'm reminded the Word of God says we're to be anxious for nothing. And people are anxious now. And they need to know where the bread is at.
Yeah, that's good.
They need to know where the bread is at. And the bread is supposed to, the showbread is in the house. So that's my way of coming around to hold on to your God.
That's good.
I'll just say I'm so thankful for Refresh Church, for accepting this introverted, kind of geeky, nerdy dude. I'm just thankful, man. I'm thankful to God. I'm thankful to y'all family. My real family in Arkansas, but my real family right here, man. I love all y'all. I may not say it because I'm super low key, but I really do. I love y'all, and I'm thankful that God sent me here, and I don't ever have to look for another church again, ever.
That's cool. I wouldn't let you go anyway, but anyway, there you go.
I don't know. I guess I'll echo what my gorgeous, amazing husband said, is that this place truly is just a place of refreshing. Like, I'm not even trying to be cliche. This place from day one, when you walk through those doors, you feel the presence of God. And it starts with leadership. It starts with our pastors. They're not sitting up here looking good, smelling good, just feeling good. They toil. They pray. They seek God on the behalf of this church. And you can rest in that when you come in these doors. You can rest in the fact that when you come in here, God has been sought after. And he is heard, and he is responding. And that's why this place is so refreshing. And that's why, like Reg said, we lifers, man. Like, I almost get pissed off a little bit when people leave for no reason.
No reason.
She said, what'd I say?
We're
you ain't say
very
nothing.
authentic.
Just go ahead. You fine. You good.
Sorry. I get frustrated a little bit.
Disturbed.
I get bothered a little bit when people walk through these doors and then they walk out of these doors as if they can't receive anything from here. And I know this place isn't for everybody, but when God is in the house and your heart is willing to receive, you can't walk out of here and not receive something. And so I just am so grateful to you, Pastor Frank, and to you, Pastor Robin, how you lead these people, how you shepherd your people that God has called you to with grace, with integrity, how, Pastor Robin, you have always been a mentor to the women, even in your quiet excellence. You have always been a mentor to the women of this church. And Pastor Frank, you've always been a mentor to the men of this church. And so we are just honored to be a part of something so amazing that God is doing and so consistent. So thank you, guys.
The check will be in the mail next week. Okay, all right. I'm saving you last.
Well, give me my turn so I can get my check.
No, it's Ronchelle and what? Oh, you get. Oh, girl. We only got a few minutes left. The live stream we'll talk about cut off. All right, go ahead, Ronchelle. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'll be real brief, but one of my favorite quotes from Maya Angelou is, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you make them feel. So I just want to say thank you to Pastor Frank and Pastor Robin for allowing my husband and I he didn't know anything about us when we showed up on the scene, but he allowed us to sit, he allowed us to get the healing that we need, and then he allowed us to serve authentically. And I thank you and Pastor Robin for that.
Appreciate y'all.
Ditto. Now, y'all know that ain't gonna fly, right? I got 30 seconds. Pastor Robin, Pastor Frank, we just really appreciate the normalcy that you make ministry looks like. You make ministry look normal, that it's not forced, that is not any preconceived notion of how that ought to look, but you allow the God in each individual person to show and to blossom and to bloom.
I was going to say, you make people feel like they can run off and go start ministries. No, I'm just playing. No,
Is that what you want to do?
No,
you want to run off
no,
and start a ministry?
No.
Message.
No.
Hold on, you can have this. No, anyway.
I'm so sorry. No, really, from when I first got here, and I would have never saw myself sitting up here with you all, like, furthest thing from my mind, but what is it, 18 years? 18 years I've been here, and I feel like I came as a baby. Even though I had been in church my whole life, I feel like I came as a baby spiritually and just who I was. Like, I had so much to learn, so I give honor to you two, but I also give honor to those who are on this stage that I get to work alongside with. And when we say authentic, like, we can say, like, there's a lot of things that we probably shouldn't say on the stage, but we can say that because, you know, behind closed doors, because you all allow us to be ourselves and we can say how we feel or all those things. So we set up here not because we're better than or anything like that, but because God chose us for this season, but God chose us to be able to serve alongside of you all in this season. And so it is an absolute blessing and honor to serve alongside some amazing people who are growing, and I get to work and see you grow. So, yeah.
All right, Dave, you got 30 seconds. All right.
Authentic leadership. I saw it pretty much for the first time being here, which led to me having an authentic relationship with Christ. I know that now. And now I have authentic relationships. And I mean, that's the buzzword for it all, is I'm not up here because I did something perfect or special. God purposes whoever he wants for his purpose and his plan, but you just got to be obedient to whatever that looks like for you. you know, and if you're up here extending this team out one day, that's God. But this authentic man of leadership and woman of God, they will know that first.
Okay,
So
honey.
This y'all fault.
It's our fault, okay.
I just want to say that you can trust your leadership. And we're not going to lead you anywhere we're not willing to go. And we're never going to ask you to do something we're not willing to do ourselves. Amen.
That's all?
That's it.
Oh, wow. She just dropped the mic. Well, let me close it out by saying how much I respect these people on this stage with me. I respect them. I love them. I respect them. I respect what's in their heart. I respect their voice. I respect their leadership. I respect their decisions. I don't make all of the decisions of what happens around here. They have been empowered, they know this, to make decisions. They started to get, I think the first time y'all wasn't used to that because they would come back to me and ask me, is this okay? I was like, I need you to stop doing that. I need you to go and lead. Because if my philosophy is, if you're going to make me do it, then why do I have you? What's the purpose of you being in place if you're not going to lead? And they go like, cool. And so I come back and go, y'all did what? And generally, to be honest with you, it's not like that. It's like, that's cool. I love that. Go keep going. Keep leading. Keep making wise decisions because I trust you. And that gives us the freedom to go away, get refreshed. We're going to be in Cancun in a couple of weeks. But anyway, and by the way, we leave these folks in charge and we don't worry one bit. I don't look at the service. I don't try to call what happened today. They won't even hear from me until I'm like back. They know this. And that's just my way of saying, and our way of saying that we trust the God in you. And we've seen it over and over and over again, how the Lord has used them to really benefit and bless the ministry. So we will not do every baptism. We will not do every baby dedication. We ain't going to be at the hospital for everybody. We are not going to kill ourselves. That's why we are here together, so that we can share the responsibilities as elders, mature people of the church, to lead the flock together. I'll do a whole different sermon on all the titles that people are acquiring these days and how unbiblical some of that is. But anyway, I digress.
I just want to say thank you for the friendship.
Thank you for the friendship.
Thank
you for being a friend. Okay.
Just real quick, thank you for the friendship, because that's what's important to me. I don't know if women are more relational than men or whatever, but it's always a fine line in ministry about who you can be friends with and who you know, especially at this level and in this seat. But I want to thank y'all for not making it weird and making it easy. And there's been no expectations. And if I get close and I'll get this, it has been nothing. It's just been easy serving and easy friendship and real friendship and real love. So I want to thank y'all for the real love, because it's so necessary.